And good morning, Tennessee. I'm Mona Nair. We'll get to our top stories in just a bit, but first, we are here with a man who is the light of my life today. The sunlight of my life today.
You'll say that simply because I bring good news.
Yes, of course. And then when you don't, I will be mean to you.
I understand. I'm used to that. Outside this morning, though, grab the jacket. It is a little chilly, Mona. And if you look carefully at this picture here, this is a satellite picture. And what we can see is the darker clouds going from Southwest Virginia, the top right-hand side of your screen, to the bottom left-hand side of your screen. You have to look kind of close. That's the cloud deck that we have across the area right now. That's going to move out pretty quickly, and we'll see improving conditions skywise really in the next hour and a half to 2 hours, and we're looking great the rest of the day. So we're at 43 in Knoxville, still 39 Sevierville and Oak Ridge, Rockwood, Madisonville the same, low to mid 40s on the plateau, though those clouds again keeping temperatures up just a hair overnight. But as we go through the next several hours, again, increasing amounts of sunshine, temperatures 47 degrees by 10 a.m., 50 by 11 and 53 by noon. Overall, we'll still be below average today, but I don't think we'll see any complaints, especially when you see the 7-day forecast. More on that in a minute, Mona.
Thank you, Ken. A couple is in jail this morning, held without bond, facing charges of especially aggravated robbery and theft. Justin Bolden and Sarah Long were taken into custody yesterday. Howland County Sheriff's Office were looking for the two in connection with 2 robberies last week. We actually got a chance to talk to one of the victims who says he knew Justin from church. Jay Bunch says Justin forced himself into his home, demanding money with a knife. He went on to say Sarah, who was with Justin, found Bunch's gun in a closet and then made threats. Deputies caught up with them both in Bean Station, news that was a big relief to many.
I'm very thankful for that. I'm glad, and I hope they get a long time in prison.
Deputies say last Sunday the couple also robbed a woman who was bedridden. This time next year, students who are involved in extracurricular activities may face drug testing in Hawkins County. The board chair, Chris Christian, says this would help keep kids on the right track. It'll prepare them for joining the labor force both before and after college. Questions to consider, though, are how often would students be subjected to testing and if they would be looking for one specific drug.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure at this point. I want to get input from our principals, from our athletic directors, our coaches.
Now, the Hamblin County school system already uses random drug testing. A parent with that school system says when students get selected for random drug testing, the parents are also notified. There's a new lawsuit to void a constitutional amendment passed by voters this week. Amendment 1 makes it easier for state lawmakers to put restrictions on abortions. You see the numbers here. 53% voted in favor of it, 47% against. And the people against it say those numbers are not right. Here's why. For that amendment to pass, it had to get the support of the majority of people voting for governor. According to the lawsuit, the state allowed people to vote for the amendment and skip the vote for governor. The plaintiffs say that made it easier for the amendment to pass. They want a judge to count only the Amendment 1 votes, where the voters also cast ballots for the governor. If that's impossible, they want the vote to be voided altogether. The lawsuit was filed in federal court, and we will let you know what happens with that. Well, there's some good news and bad news when it comes to meth in Tennessee. First, the good news. Seizures of homemade meth labs are down 40% here in Tennessee, but people are still using the drug. They're just getting it from Mexico. Experts say the meth made by cartels has become so cheap it's being found even in small towns and rural areas. Well, years ago, the dying wish of a Claiborne County woman was to leave behind a pet cemetery. And finally, her wish was fulfilled. The folks at the Claiborne County Animal Shelter say it came as a surprise. They got from her an 1.5 acres next door, plus $80,000 for upkeep. The hope is that the cemetery will provide some extra income for the shelter for years to come. Well, if you've driven on I-75 through Campbell County, you've probably seen that big cross. Hundreds of people met there yesterday to pray for a way to end drug problems in our neighborhoods. Sheila Ray Charles, the daughter of late singer Ray Charles, came up from Georgia to lead the worship.
I'm just basking in the love, basking in the joy and in the peace and in the power that people are bringing to this event and saying, hey, we can make a change, we will make a difference, and all we have to do is go for it.
She says she was finally able to overcome addiction when she turned to Jesus. The event was organized by the Stand in the Gap Coalition. They're hoping to make this an annual tradition, and we will have more information posted for you at WATE.com. Just click on the As Seen on 6 tab. And the last 2 American detainees in North Korea got their freedom back. Kenneth Bae and Matthew Todd Miller arrived in America late last night. The news comes weeks after another American, Jeffrey Fowle, was freed after spending 5 months in a North Korean jail. And in a press conference, Bae expressed his gratitude to the president.
I just also want to thank President Obama and all the people in State Departments. They're working tirelessly hard to get me released as well. And also, I'd like to thank the DPRK North Korea government as well, allowing me to go home and come home and be united with our family and for the loved people.
Bae spent 2 years in custody while Miller spent 7 months. Both were released on humanitarian grounds. New this morning, 3 weeks after its launch, there is now a $1 million Monopoly Millionaires Club winner in Collierville. The drawing on November 7th created the game's first ever top prize winner of $21 million, ooh-wee, in New Jersey. It unlocked $14 million prizes, one of which was won by a Tennessee lottery player. That ticket was purchased in Collierville. No additional information can be released about the winner until the prize is claimed. Monopoly Millionaires game is a collaboration between Powerball and Mega Millions. And it's been a Christmas tradition for more than a century. You've seen those red kettles from the Salvation Army. The campaign kicked off last night with a concert. We told you about it yesterday morning. The Streamliners Swing Orchestra played at the Square Room in Market Square. Last year, East Tennesseans donated about $565,000, and this year the goal is $625,000. And the Christmas tree arriving in Rockefeller Center Friday night. The tree made its way from Pennsylvania. It was planted in 1915. You can see it being lifted and the tarp removed. The family that donated the tree said they had some warning the tree might be used for the celebration.
We had bought the place 2 years ago, and the previous owners had mentioned that Rockefeller Center was interested in possibly taking the tree for the Christmas tree in New York City.
The Rockefeller Center tree lighting ceremony is on December 3rd. Just to show you the holiday season is coming up quickly, the balloons for the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Parade were being tested yesterday. You can see Pikachu, Spider-Man, and Thomas the Tank Engine taking part in the dress rehearsal for the 88th annually nationally televised event. There are just 3 of the record 6 newcomers to the parade. The others are Paddington Bear, the Pillsbury Doughboy, and the Red Power Ranger. New this morning, 2 separate earthquakes near East Tennessee rattled residents yesterday. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the first 2.5 magnitude quake happened near Grimsley, Tennessee around 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Grimsley is in Fentress County. The other earthquake happened just before 9 last night near Mars Hill, North Carolina, which is close to the Tennessee border. It registered at a 2.3 magnitude earthquake. There are no reports of any damage or injury at this time. And time now to check in with our favorite guy today, Ken Weathers. Right, Ken?
Yeah, again, you're only saying that because the weather's nice. Probably not going to be the case by later in the week, but I'll take it. Outside right now, we do have sunshine in the Blount County area. This is top Blount Memorial Hospital overlooking the Maryville area. It's a nice start with some sunshine out there, but I want to change the camera view for you real quick, and we can take a look at Cumberland County, Crossville. We're kind of sopped in still with the clouds. That cloud deck is basically right off the valley floor from southwest Virginia back along portions of the plateau, right where you see that light or kind of the darker gray color. That's not going to last much longer. We'll get rid of that in about an hour, hour and a half's time. I'm thinking 10:30 is probably a good time frame there of when it's going to be cleared out. And then by lunchtime, look at this, everybody seeing sunshine across the area. And we stay that way right through the afternoon into the evening hours. It's going to be nice and temperatures will respond. Now, I'm not talking about shorts and short sleeves kind of a day, but it is going to be pleasant, especially compared to where we have been. Keep in mind the average high this time of year is 64. I'm looking at 57 for a high, and that's right around 3 o'clock. Sun sets around 5:30, and when it does, temperatures drop off pretty sharply. 50 degrees by 6 o'clock, and if you're heading out this evening, look at that, by 9 o'clock, we're at 44 degrees. Nice stretch of the next 3 days. If I could only just show you this, I think I would be everybody's favorite weatherman. 66 degrees Monday, 67 for Veterans Day. Looks great. I'll show you the rest of the 7-day forecast, though, coming up in about 10 minutes. It's not the same story.
Thanks, you amazing weather guy, you. Next on Good Morning Tennessee, a golf tournament helping out those living with muscular dystrophy. And there is still time for you to sign up. Stay with us. You're watching WATE 6 on your side. Good morning, Tennessee. And good morning, Tennessee. I'm Mona Nair. We'll get to our top stories in just a moment. But first, Matt and Ken, last weekend we were talking about 80s, and this weekend,
What's that?
East Tennessee.
Yeah. 1st of November. It's not an April Fool's joke. This is
No.
November, right out of July, right out of June Reynolds pictures right here. Look at the big, beautiful 5.5 inches of snow in Cosby, Sevier County, and still coming down. This was taken about 7:30, so an hour and a half ago, and we're going to see more of what this looks like. Is that not a beautiful scene in East Tennessee? We invite you all to share your pictures with us, like another one out of the Newport community, Billy Lawson Jr., and that's another beautiful sight. Boy, where it is snowing heavily, and there's still some to go, Ken. I think we're going to see a good part of the day that we're going to be looking at some snow showers around the area. These are the snow totals that we have so far, and it continues to snow. Mount LeConte, over a foot already. Newfound Gap pushing it. And Mayland, that's up on the plateau, 2 inches. With Knoxville, we had some snow showers, but nothing stayed on the ground because it was too warm. But Ken, there's a lot more left to go on Storm Tracker 6 for the rest of the day.
Yeah, this one looks like a live picture in Gatlinburg right now. Look at the snow coming down. It's hard to see the ridge there in the distance, which we usually can on a pretty clear day, but that snow continuing to pound down the Gatlinburg area and especially Sevierville. You see some of the brighter purple showing up, the darker purple rather, right through there. That's a steady band of snow making its way back towards the southwest. It's actually moving back towards the southwest, this snow, as it's wrapping around this big area of low pressure. As you can see, not much left on the plateau other than a few scattered flurries. Really, if we're going to see accumulating snows the rest of the day, Matt, it's going to be the mountains up into northeast Tennessee. The biggest story area-wide, though, is going to be that cold air. Only low 40s for today, but feeling much colder than that. If you think that's cold, wait till tonight.
Yeah, freeze warning on the way. We'll have details in just a couple minutes.
Brr. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Ken. East Tennessee waking up to a cold and in some places white morning, as you saw. We begin our team coverage in Gatlinburg, which has seen its fair share of snow over the past few hours. Let's send things over to WATE 6 on your side reporter Whitney Good for the latest. Whitney.
Good morning, Mona. People are getting out and about here in downtown Gatlinburg this morning, and the snow is falling at a pretty good pace. It's been falling like this for much of the morning, and if you take a look behind me here at the Parkway, you can really see it sticking on a lot of the rooftops. A lot of the cars that are driving through have a good coating of snow on them. Now, we have been hearing that a lot of the back roads here in Sevier County do have some snow coated on them, so take it easy if you're getting out and about. Most of the main roads do appear to be okay, but again, some of those back roads could pose some travel issues, so just take it easy if you're getting out and about, but definitely try to get out and enjoy this beautiful snow if you can, because it's really coming down here, and it has been all morning. We'll keep an eye on the conditions out here, and we'll check back in with you in just a little bit. Live in Gatlinburg, Whitney Good, WATE 6 on your side.
Well, Gatlinburg may have gotten hit the hardest, but we are definitely seeing snow in other sections of East Tennessee right now as well. WATE 6 on your side reporter Brandon Rook has been in Morristown all morning. He joins us now live for the latest.
Mona, the weather has been clearing up here in Morristown over the past hour and a half. There are more cars on the road at this hour than from before. And I talked to the Morristown Police Department, and they tell me that there hasn't been any reported accidents or incidents because of this morning's weather. However, the roads are still slick, so residents traveling should still be cautious. Live in Morristown, Brandon Rook, WATE 6 on your side.
Thanks, Brandon. And back here in Knoxville, we've been spared the snow, but definitely not the cold. WATE 6 on your side reporter Haley Holloway wrapping up our team coverage right now in a very chilly Market Square.
Yeah, Mona, it is definitely chilling, and we've been here for a couple of hours. We've seen a lot of precipitation, but we are now starting to see some light flurries. We are seeing the first flakes of the season down here in Market Square as the farmers market gets kicked off. And if you are getting ready to come out, we can tell you, you need a coat, you need your scarf and gloves. And we are hoping to see a couple more flurries as we get going through the morning here. So we are going to send it back to you, but we're going to stay down here as we wait for more flurries. Mona, back to you.
And special thanks to Brandon, Whitney, and Haley, because it is a cold morning to be out there reporting. And this is also the perfect time to download our WATE 6 on your side weather app. Just search for the Knoxville weather using your iPad or smartphone. With the app, you can sign up for severe weather alerts in your area. We'll show you how. Just look for the As Seen on 6 section of our website, WATE.com. And hundreds of people in our area having to spend at least part of the morning without power because some of these outages. This is the latest look at the power outages in Newport. Those numbers were at just more than 2,000 outages less than an hour ago. And today is the last chance for Tennessee high school students to apply for free college tuition. The program offers free community college tuition to Tennessee high school graduates. You may remember the governor signed the bill into law earlier this year. Students will now be eligible to receive funding until school starts in the fall of 2015. And today the Vols are on the road hoping to get a win in conference as there is still a chance to go to the bowl game this year. The Vols offense has struggled all season, but with Josh Dobbs potentially in as quarterback, we could see a much more productive Tennessee run game. The Vols are up against one of the worst defenses in the SEC. Coach Robert Gillespie talks about the challenges the Vols face this weekend.
Obviously, when you're competing against another backfield like they have, I think you want to step up to the occasion and kind of compete to see who got the best group. So hopefully we continue that throughout these next 4 games, and obviously this week is another big challenge for us.
It's game day, so here's what you need to know about tonight's action. Kickoff tonight is at 7:30. You can catch all the game on the SEC network. The night game on WATE is Illinois at Ohio State. But 6 Sports teams Michael Spencer and Prentice Elliott will have all the highlights tonight on WATE 6 News at 11. The manhunt is on for an escaped teen who was on the TBI's most wanted list. Demario Fisher was on the loose for nearly 2 months after escaping from the Woodland Hills juvenile facility along with several others. He's also wanted in connection to a shooting near the campus of Tennessee State University. Wednesday night, Nashville police said at the time of his arrest, Fisher was armed with a loaded gun. He will be charged with especially aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, and unlawful possession for the alleged shooting. And the victim in a suspicious shooting in Greene County has now been identified by police. We told you Thursday that the Greene County Sheriff's Office found a man at his Cumberland Drive home dead. Now we know that victim is 64-year-old David Lineberry. Someone called 911 Thursday morning saying a man had been shot. Then deputies went to the home and found the body. The TBI is assisting in the case, which is classified as a homicide right now. And if you have any information, call the Greene County Sheriff's Office, 423-798-1800. A U.S. Marine reservist is now free from a prison cell in Mexico, and he's back safe in our country. Andrew Paul Tamoresi has been in a Mexican prison since March on weapons charges. After his release, he arrived in San Diego, where he since boarded a flight for Miami. He was arrested near the U.S.-Mexico border after a Mexican customs agent found 3 firearms in his truck. Now Mexico's gun laws prohibit anyone from illegally bringing weapons into the country. Since his arrest, Tamoresi maintained that he took a wrong turn on the side of the California border. And the Mexican court says it found no cause to prosecute Tamoresi. And And that's the big story this morning, the snow showers. We are going to head back into the Weather Center with Matt and Ken to check in with them.
All right, thanks a lot, Mona. Scattered snow showers continuing, especially over towards the mountains. This is the Pigeon Forge area atop the Smoky Mountain Opry. Notice this, roads are fine, but these flakes are absolutely huge that are falling down in this area. We go down the road just a little bit, heading east towards the mountains. This is what it looks like in Gatlinburg. Snow coming down even harder there, and it is starting to stick to the area rooftops, also into the trees, but it looks like the roads are okay at this point, but I bet that's not the case as you get a little bit higher in some of the elevation areas. Let's go back to the plateau. We'll show you what Cumberland County looks like right now. Different story. Starting to see some breaks in the clouds, and the snow is over with for now. Just some scattered snow showers, it looks like, that fell overnight, leaving some grassy areas covered, but the roads are doing great. Here's what it looks like right now in the Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg area. That darker purple you see all through here, that's that steady, moderate snowfall that we're seeing across that area as we speak. And this is mainly confined, again, right along the mountains, down into the foothills areas, and that's where this is going to stay really as we go right through the afternoon hours. Maybe a few scattered flurries in and around the Knoxville area as we head through the morning, but that would be about it. So here's 9 o'clock where we are right now. I'll take you on to 10 o'clock an hour from now. And as you see, that snow continues to hug the spine of the Appalachians, and it's going to stay that way right through the afternoon hours. Really the biggest story for us going to be the temperatures. Notice this, only by noon we're going to see upper 30s to right around 40 degrees, and we'll do lucky, I'd say, to get into the low 40s for most areas this afternoon. But Mona, we're talking about a hard freeze for most areas tonight. More on that in the full forecast in less than 10 minutes.
Thanks, Ken. Well, ghosts and goblins making their way across Knoxville last night, but your Halloween plans don't have to end in October. We've got just the event for you if you want to keep the Halloween experience going. Next, you're watching WATE 6 on your side. Good morning, Tennessee. Good morning, Tennessee. I'm Mona Nair. We'll get to our top stories in just a bit, but first, Ken here says that it's the kind of day where if you don't need to go outside, don't go outside, yes?
Indoor activities better today compared to what we saw yesterday with the sunshine and temperatures near 60. Now it's not going to be overly cold today. That's not a concern, but it's going to be wet and it's going to be windy across the region. Right now in West Knoxville, relatively quiet and temperatures not bad. 47 degrees is where we are right now, and notice the wind, very light, north at 3 miles per hour, but also notice the pressure. That FR means that it's falling rapidly. That's an approach of this storm system that's well to our south. Right now, just some spotty showers, as you can see on Storm Tracker 6. Pull back out just a bit, and not a lot of activity out there this morning, and that's not expected to be the case. But as I pull back out even further, notice additional showers continue to build, especially through northern Alabama. That's going to be the next batch that'll head our way, but this is the largest batch of rain that'll head our way as we go through the afternoon into the evening hours. So hour by hour, by 10 o'clock, we're at 49 degrees, 53 by noon, and 59 by 3 o'clock. And notice increasing coverages of rain, especially from lunchtime into the afternoon. Mona, I'll talk about the wind threat coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Ken. This morning, the Vols only have one more chance to make it to a bowl game. They lost last night to Missouri, 29-21. Bud Jones talked about the team moving forward.
They'll pick themselves up. I think you saw it today. This is a resilient group of kids. Started 7 true freshmen in an SEC game versus a team that may very well represent the Eastern Division. This is a resilient group. They take pride in their performance. They bring it every day. I love our kids, and they're resilient.
The Vols haven't been to a bowl game in 4 years. They'll have to win against Vanderbilt on Saturday to make it this year. And new this morning, we're hearing from the man who fell onto the field at Neyland last night. Take a look at what happened.
But watch this, a celebration by the crowd here. Girl goes down, big fella in the first row goes down.
Tennessee had just tricked Missouri for its first touchdown of the game. You see the fans celebrating, and that man grabs onto player Alex Ellis. So why'd he do it?
I was just giving some love because we took the lead right there, and then he started pulling away, and he took me with him.
What was your initial reaction when you started going over?
I can't say it on TV.
He said he's just glad he didn't end up in jail last night. Well, coming up in sports, we'll talk more about the game and what went wrong. Plus, Jillian will have a look at what's ahead for the Vols in just a few minutes. A pedestrian was killed after he was hit by a minivan in Powell last night. The Knox County Sheriff's Office says the 68-year-old man was crossing Clinton Highway from a motel to a gas station when he was struck. The accident happened just before 7 p.m. Deputies say the victim was transported to the hospital where he later died. He has not been identified at this time. Officers say the driver will not be charged because she was unable to avoid hitting him. Police are investigating an apparent drive-by shooting in East Knoxville. Officers say a man who was shot in the leg and showed up to the hospital Friday night. The victim told police he was walking next to Castle Street when someone fired 4 shots. He didn't have a lot of information about the shooter, but said they were driving a silver 4-door car with tinted windows. Police say they checked out the area where the shooting was reported, but didn't get any more information. A man died in a crash in Blount County and another had to be flown to the hospital. Deputies say neither of the men was wearing a seatbelt. They say the driver lost control on a curve on New Blockhouse Road. Lifestar took him to the hospital. No word on his condition. The passenger died after being thrown from the truck. And firefighters were back at this house in West Knoxville yesterday morning after it caught fire again. They just put out a fire there on Grandview Drive Friday, and the homeowner was arrested for setting it on purpose. Firefighters say the flames apparently rekindled yesterday. Arson investigators are checking it out. No one was hurt. And a fire destroys a business in Soddy Daisy Friday night. Firefighters say they were unable to save Jerry's Cabinet Shop after the call came in around 6:45. The fire chief says people were working in the shop earlier in the day. He also says a firefighter fell and was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Investigators have yet to determine what caused the fire. A former Newport police officer who is accused of distributing drugs is expected to be sentenced tomorrow. James Holt pleaded guilty to the charges and was let go from the force back in August. You may recall TBI officials launched an investigation into Holt after they learned he allegedly bought and sold stolen goods. TBI then learned Holt bought and sold prescription drugs, all while he was on duty inside his police department cruiser. His sentencing is expected tomorrow at 1:30 in the federal court building in Greenville. Hundreds of families in Sevier County have their pets by their side this morning, all thanks to one Facebook page. The page is called Sevier County, Tennessee Missing Pets. It was created by Marcia Hayes 2 years ago, using social media as a means of networking to bring pets back home.
I've seen so many animals roaming, and I'm like, gosh, why are they roaming? I need to do something about it.
Within the past year, the page has exploded with almost 3,800 page fans that Hayes calls the Paws Army. And because of the page, 207 families have been reunited with their pets. Hayes suggests always having your pet spayed or neutered to keep them from roaming around, and also keep ID tags on them and get them microchipped. Take a look at Knoxville's newest homeowner. Joey Thompson got the keys to his house from Habitat for Humanity yesterday morning, a moment he's put in a lot of work for. He went to classes and even helped build the house. He thought the dedication was going to happen a year ago, but then he suddenly lost his job.
I had to keep on fighting, and I didn't give up, and that's why I want to thank Habitat, because they didn't give up on me. They didn't give away my lot. They kept my lot. I proved I was worthy. I kept trying, got a job, keeping it, and here we are.
His first improvement for his new house is to build a fence so his 3 girls can play outside safely. And if you've been waiting for winter, some great news from Ober-Gatlinburg. The tubing slopes are open for the season. The folks at Ober have been making snow since last month, preparing for this weekend. And time now to check in with Ken at the Storm Center. Hey, Ken, big week, Thanksgiving week.
It is, Mona. Going to be a lot of travelers, I'm sure, by Wednesday. And the weather looks okay for us here by Wednesday. Not so much everywhere across the southeast. This morning, we have some scattered rain showers. These are lifting to the north and east, heading up across the plateau into southeast Kentucky. That's not really the biggest concern for the day today. We will see some moderate to at times heavy rainfall, but it's going to be the wind gusts. Now, right now, not too bad across our area, but watch what happens as we approach lunchtime. Those winds will start to pick up across the plateau, seeing some winds gusting over 30 miles per hour, much the same in the mountains, but relatively quiet in the valley by that time. In fact, our wind stays relatively quiet through early afternoon at 3 o'clock, while the winds are very gusty for the plateau and mountains. In fact, where you see the red, those are winds being estimated over 50 miles per hour. But you notice what happened just past sunset? Our winds pick up here in the valley, and we're going to see winds gusting over 30 miles per hour at times as well. Because of that, we have a high wind warning in place across the mountains, meaning winds could gust over 60 miles per hour. Again, rain is what we expect for all areas today, and our wind picks up here in the valley as we go through the evening into early tonight. That's going to really keep temperatures up. Notice we'll see a high of 59 today around 4 o'clock. And then we don't change much. Even overnight, we're going to stay in the mid to upper 50s because of those strong southerly winds. But you know another cool down's coming, right? Details on that in the full 7-day forecast in about 10 minutes, Mona.
Thanks, Ken. Well, next on Good Morning Tennessee, it is the season for giving, and one local community is making sure families have a dinner on their table this Thanksgiving. Hear from residents who received free turkeys for Thursday's big meal. Next, you're watching WATE 6 on your side. Good morning, Tennessee. The grand jury could finish up as early as today. The decision would likely come 2 days later. Bo Tirsa, back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you again. That is Mona Nair reporting. Thank you, Mona. Police in Philadelphia continuing to look for a missing woman this morning, believed to have been abducted.
Yeah, WATE 6 on your side reporter Mona Nair has been following this story for us and joins us now. Good morning, Mona.
Good morning, Bo and Tirsa. Even without sound, the video you're about to see is quite disturbing. Philadelphia police released it, hoping to catch the apparent kidnapper. You can see the suspect approach 22-year-old Kalisha Freeland Gaither, who lives just blocks away from this scene. The two struggle before she's dragged off into a car. Police say Freeland Gaither managed to kick out the rear windows before the car drives away. Her father is now pleading for someone to come forward with information. Kasich is the fifth Western hostage to be executed by ISIS. They still hold another American hostage, a young female aid worker who they are also threatening to execute. Bo Tirsa, back to you.
All right, thank you again. That is Mona Nair reporting from the newsroom. Of course, we'll stay on top of this international story.
O'Neill has said that he chose to come into the spotlight after meeting the families of 9/11 victims. Live in the studio, Mona Nair, WATE 6 on your side. Oh yeah, good morning, Bo and Tirsa. Right now, 200 million Americans are feeling the record-breaking cold, and it's expected to stick around for days. From Memphis to Little Rock, the earliest snow in decades brought deadly pileups to yesterday's morning commute.